This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day, carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fully Managed Podcast, the podcast where we discuss marketing and business tips to help assist you on your business journey. I'm your host, Shannon, Penji's Partnership Coordinator, and I'm joined here today with a very special guest, Josh Weber from Big Red Jelly. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Shannon. I'm excited.
Thank you. It is awesome to have you on. So could you please tell us, me, the audience, everyone, a little bit about yourself, your professional journey and how you made it to this point in your career?
Yes. I'll be short. I am an agency owner. I'm co-founder and CEO of Big Red Jelly. We are an agency based here in Provo, Utah. 23 employees. We've been around for 7 years. But I've been in agency life, right? Hashtag agency life for a long time. Let me just say that ever since I graduated college, I've always been attracted to marketing. And I've worked in big agencies. I've worked in small agencies. I've worked with big brands. I've worked with small brands. And long story short, my co-founder and I set off 7 years ago to start Big Red Jelly because we just felt like we could do it better. And so here we are running our agency. We're growing really quickly. And I'm excited to be here. So it's a little bit about me.
How did you meet your co-founder?
He is my brother.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I feel like I should have done more research on
For better or worse, for better or worse. Yeah, he's my brother. But we're very different. He's people will notice that right out of the gate. He's his strengths are my weaknesses and vice versa. He's the yin yang, and it's a good duo.
That's really nice to recognize. I mean, I'm trying to think of if I have the dynamic with my sister. I don't think we'd ever be able to start a company together. We'd probably kill each other.
It can be tough. Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, what do you think is the most difficult part about that? Is family business?
I think it's important. There's a couple challenges, and to be honest, it was rocky at the beginning. There were definitely some hurdles. You have to clearly outline areas of responsibility and swim lanes, right? You have to say, hey, this is your turf. This is mine. These are your KPIs. These are mine. I have a bad habit of trying to micromanage and step into other people's areas too much. And when I did that, and before when that was too ambiguous, that would lead to conflict. But as soon as you kind of find the right seats and you sit there, you can rock and roll. I think you can work with anyone.
Oh, that's a really good lesson to learn too. And to be able to learn it through doing it is really nice. I've worked in a lot of Italian restaurants where family businesses are not working out and they're throwing things or cursing at each other. So that is not agency life. You would think that it would be a little more professional than that and not throwing pizza around, but you never know. Anyway, okay, so what do you think? Well, one, I think that people watching, will want to know if they don't know the background of. I do, because I'm a professional and I know everything about you, except for that you and your brother started the business. Could you explain the Big Red Jellyfish, the whole lore around the name of your business?
Glad you asked. I thought you would never ask. Yeah, again, kind of the short answer is going back to the genesis of Big Red Jelly when my brother and I knew we wanted to start our own agency. And after having worked in big agencies for big brands for several years, one thing that just kind of kept rubbing me the wrong way was there was a lot of inefficiencies. There's a lot of fat. There's a lot of fluff at that level. You're kind of, there's just a lot of unnecessary stuff going on, and you throw the word creative and strategy in every phrase, and all of a sudden, you're charging a client 10x what you probably should. So when we set off to start our own agency, we didn't have a name. We didn't know the brand, but we just knew we wanted to be efficient and transparent. Long story short, that's kind of the fun part, right? You're starting a company. You're like, hey, what's our name going to be? It's like, that's the fun part. What's our logo? I'm a big National Geographic fan. And at a particular point in time, I received an email from Nat Geo that they just discovered the red jellyfish off the coast of Japan. So this was 2017, September 2017. And I clicked into it. I was fascinated. And
See a picture of it.
yeah, it
Sorry,
turns
it's not.
out it's the world's, at least at that point in time, the world's most efficient animal in terms of what it consumes and the energy it puts out into the ocean. And so we're like, hey, redjelly.com was taken by a food blogger in the UK. Someone made red jello or something like that. So we went with Big Red Jelly, and that's been our mascot ever since.
Ah, well, that's a beautiful story. I love a unique story about why someone creates, or the kind of mission behind what you want to accomplish with the business and then making it a unique name. Do you think it's your favorite animal?
It's got to be, right? It has to be.
It could be.
But I have yet to see one in the wild, right? I have not seen one in the flesh, and maybe that's I got to do it.
Yeah, maybe you do. You got to swim with the big red jellyfish. Do you think they're poisonous? Usually the brightly colored animals are.
I can't remember if it said it was. Well, I think most jellyfish have some form of toxin, right? They can sting you, but I should know that. Now I'm gonna.
They don't look like they have tendrils, so they might be fine. They usually look like they just have legs, which is interesting.
Kind of weird jellyfish.
It is a weird looking jellyfish. Yeah, you should change your name to weirdlookingjellyfish.com.
Potentially at the rebrand right there. Yeah.
Domain probably is not taken. I mean, I would really wonder what would be on that website if they did. Anyway. Okay, so your goal is to have a efficient company without any fluff. What do you do in a scenario where you think that a part isn't running efficiently? Like, what is your strategy to make sure that it's constantly doing what you set out to do?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misunderstandings in the creative space. So for example, here at Big Red Jelly, one thing we really evangelize is that really well-defined and refined processes and world-class creativity are not mutually exclusive. In fact, I think they need each other, right? So, and our team loves that and they embrace that. So for example, we have great processes here that keep us on track, keep us on scope, keep us moving forward. And when you have really good processes and you've got great project management, great account management, it actually frees up way more time so that you can then go and do the thing that you were hired to do, which is to be creative and be a strategist, right? So when I hear kind of these like misconceptions of, oh, I'm creative, I don't like right? If I was to give you a blank canvas with just absolutely nothing and just say draw, it's actually kind of hard to just like get started. But if I give you like a shape or some parameters or a square to stay within, all of a sudden it's a lot easier, right? So I think that's one core principle of kind of remaining efficient and just kind of aligning our core values along that principle. It helps. It helps.
Can you give an example of something that you think is crucial to this kind of dynamic?
In terms of process?
Yeah. Like, do you have something that you incorporated that you think is unique that a part of your process? I know I'm assuming that you have an extensive kind of template for everything, but do you think that there's something that you think is more crucial than others?
I could go into many areas. Yeah, I mean, you used the word template, right? That's another thing that I think people have kind of, I'm going to be honest here, this might offend some people, but I think the design community, and I'm a designer by trade, I'm a brand strategist. Our team is very talented. The community can tend to be a little pretentious at times, right? We'll turn our nose up to the word template. Oh my gosh, you use Canva, it's just like a web developer, someone who custom codes might turn their nose up at a CMS like a WordPress or a Wix or a Shopify. When we really dig deeper, I think it's just because those technologies and platforms have disrupted the space so much that they feel a little bit threatened. So don't feel threatened, right? Embrace it. Just like AI, right? If we're really scared And not trying to use AI, like, I think that's a mistake. It's really isn't to embrace it. It's an accelerant. It's not going to change what you do. It's going to accelerate what you're good at or what you're bad at, right? So use technology accordingly.
I 100% agree, and I really like your note on AI relating it because that's exactly what I thought of when you said that. It's interesting because I definitely understand the reason there are so many reasons why people are hesitant about using AI or incorporating it into their business. And I completely understand the fears of like it replacing an entire job or something like that, or not doing as good of a job as someone who's already doing something adjacent to that. But I think that it's a really helpful tool, not a replacement for a person. Yes, I think in some aspects it can replace some things. But having it as a tool and embracing it as that is so like it's a game changer. It can help. It can do exactly what you were kind of mentioning in the beginning of like it is basically something that can help you along where you're not doing these tedious activities anymore that take up so much of your time. You
Yep.
can just be doing what is actually worth your brain power and something that's beneficial to the company or the business or whatever it may be. Whereas this tedious task that you can have a little robot do for you is awesome. It's insane, and I understand the people that are worried about it to an extent. I was so worried about using it because not even for the fear of it'll take over the human race or something like that, but the idea that I'm someone that likes to exercise my brain as much as possible. So I won't even Google something if I think that I can, like figure it out in my
Yeah.
brain. Like if it's in there, I'm just gonna try to pull it out because I don't want to get to the point where I have early onset Alzheimer's because I not thinking about things constantly. I was like,
Right.
if I get reliant on ChatGPT, I'm gonna be looking at it for everything, and then I'm gonna, my brain is gonna turn to mush because I'm not exercising things. But I
Yeah.
don't think that you don't have to for everything.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm pulling from the book Good to Great, which great book. Those who have not read it, but unless you're a tech company, right? So if you're an entrepreneur, freelancer, creative, someone listening to this, unless you're a tech company, technology does not replace or fix bad processes, bad positioning, bad creative. It's an accelerant. It's just gas, right? So if things are structured correctly, you've got good processes, good positioning, you got a good brand, then the right technology like AI will accelerate. Just like you were saying, like it will make a lot of the kind of churn work super efficient. But if you got some stuff wrong at the foundational level, it can create issues, in my opinion. So just kind of a word of caution. I totally agree. I think that I've been saying this for years. I'm kind of trying to evangelize this in the marketing space, but um, online advertising, things that used to be non-commodities are now being commoditized. It's just so quick and easy. Therefore, what does that put more emphasis on? I think two things: true creative and strategy, right? Because if you have AI that can almost write as good as you, design as good as you, it can execute as good as anyone. I think we'll get to that point. It puts extra emphasis still on what makes a human being a human being. I think it's those two things. It's true strategy and true creative. Like it's gotta, right? Clients and businesses are still going to be out there saying, okay, I'm still totally overwhelmed by how much there is to do. Give me the right building blocks, and then someone can come in and do that. So,
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that as well. I think that you can I think someone gave me this example a while ago when you're talking about AI about if you have someone that is a bad writer and you give them ChatGPT or whatever AI to be able to help them,
yeah,
it's still going to be bad writing. It's not like it doesn't negate that you have to be good at your craft to utilize this tool. And then maybe in the future it might become more efficient in the way that it can
yeah,
do better than you can. I don't know, but I think that it is a testament to exactly what you said about how people will then value human-centered approaches more. Um, of that, I'm not worried about necessarily replacement because I think that the more advanced that AI and tools like that get and become, more efficient at doing human processes, I think people will value humans in workspaces even more because they don't want everything done by a
Yeah.
robot. Like,
Yeah, you're totally right. The trends don't lie. Like there's a major comeback with farmers markets, for example, post COVID.
hmm,
Those are interesting statistics to look at. Etsy's blowing up, right? Why? We'll always have luxury handmade products, and those will always be a premium. There's just something about the human element that we like. There's something about live music. There's something about an acoustic version of a song. There's something about the farmer's market. And I agree. I think it might actually just accelerate the value of those things. It's like, wow, that's rare, right? So it'll be interesting to see what
yeah.
happens.
No, it's definitely something that's kind of beautiful about humanity almost, because I think that I know it's getting kind of philosophical. But
Yeah.
humans do crave humans, like it's not, technology can get so advanced, and that's fantastic and helpful and great. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's damaging. But humans will always crave like personal ability. Like COVID was so bad because we could not interact in the same way that we could. Like the loneliness epidemic is insane because
Um,
technology has created this kind of rift in how we communicate. And it's an incredible thing because you are able to communicate when you can't see each other in person. But it's also really difficult when it gets in the way of wanting to be in person. And I think that the more that it advances and the more that it gets in the way of that, the more there will maybe be this kind of revolution of, oh, no, we actually do really care about human to human contact. And this is something that we can embrace technologically, but also we really value um people, and we want to deal with people, and we don't want
yeah.
to just deal with a robot. It's like automated phone messaging that makes me want to die when I'm talking to like my
Yeah.
insurance company and I can't talk to a real person. I don't want to talk to a robot. They're not efficient. And even if they do become efficient, they can't hear my anger, or they can't hear my upset about my problem, and they don't care about me. They're just a
Sure.
robot. And I think that goes into agency work. I'll bring it back to less philosophical, but goes into agency work because people do want to deal with a real person. And a lot of times people want to deal, what I love and value about smaller agencies is a lot of times with bigger agencies, they can't reach the CEO. They can't
Mhm.
reach the founder. And that, it's nice to have systems in place so that you don't have to deal with those things necessarily, like complaints and all that. But sometimes it's really like people really value when they can receive a response from the person at the top that cares and like they feel cared about.
You're speaking my language,
And
Shannon.
that's human. Let's play the rent. You're the guest.
One, I love that point. That's funny you said that. I give a presentation from time to time. It's particularly geared towards small business owners and marketing and branding. And that's one of the things I remind them of is like lean into the fact that when someone walks through your doors, or even if you're e-commerce, someone orders from you, how many times do I hear that, right? Where they're like, hey, let's say I'm designing a website, and dozens of times at this point where I'm working on their team page, let's say, and they're like, hey, I don't want to show the teams. I don't want people to know how small I am. I have to like stop them and say, what are you talking about? Right? Like it's a huge differentiator now. If I pick up the phone and call Amazon, what's the chance that Jeff Bezos is going to pick up the phone? Like 0%. If I call your bakery or I call your e-commerce shop, it's like a 50% chance you're going to pick up the phone, right? So like lean into, again, going all the way back to what we were talking about before, like lean into the farmer's market, Etsy, artisan, owner-led vibe. People, people really are thirsty for that. So yeah, totally agree. And even for my own agency, we don't want to scale to be an agency of 100, 200, 300 employees. No offense to those that are, that's cool. We instead want to get to about 30, 35, and we're going to cap it at that. That's our dream team. And we're just going to be best in the business, best at our craft in each role. And that's us, because I like that vibe.
Yeah, I like that vibe too. Not Penji is one of those companies that's 200 plus. So not that there's anything wrong with that either. Um, but yeah, it's just something that's really lovely, I find. And I do agree that honing in your craft, like you can actually put more resources towards perfecting each kind of position when you have a smaller group. Like you can focus more towards it too, which I think is really lovely. Whereas it's really hard to focus on the individual when you have so many employees. Making sure that they also feel like they feel cared about, and that they're wanted in the company, that they're very like they're useful and we appreciate them and thank
Yeah.
you. And it's hard to you can as a CEO care about all of your employees and have a large company, but it is very difficult to
Very
convey other than benefits.
true. I have such an admiration for those you think Chick-fil-A, for example, for those who are, I think they've got a pretty strong brand and great customer
Mhm.
service. Anytime you ask for something, what do they respond with? Right. My pleasure. Right.
Mhm.
And I think like, man, it's hard building culture just with 23 employees that we have now. Like when you get 2 or 3 levels down from the top, how much is lost. So just it does make me admire companies like a Penji, like a Chick-fil-A, where they've got a really powerful brand, great customer service. Like a lot of work's gone into that. So on the flip side, it's impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think that that's definitely a testament to those people that can still have that level of personability, but also be large, which is uncommon to say, to say the least. Okay, so switching gears, I was wondering, okay, so it's really nice to be able to I don't always get to talk to founders. A lot of times I talk to like marketing coordinators, which is also lovely. But I was wondering, is there any significant improvements that you've made to this agency that kind of stand out to you since you started it that are um I do you think like crucial to the development that you've made to now?
Yeah, if I was speaking to, because I get that question a decent amount, which is a great question. Like if
Darn.
I think you did it well. It's huge. Props. But it's like, yeah, what advice? This might not be your question. So I'm interpreting. Like, what would you, if I could go back in time, or less, what advice would I give to another founder who's just starting? I'll speak specifically to agent. Well, I think this is applicable to any industry. I cannot emphasize this enough, but first, you have to identify the right seats on the bus, right? It's like, what is your team look like? Like, what are the seats? What is the org chart? And if it's just you as the founder, like it's literally just you, then I still want you to sit down and draw out the org chart and then put different, like literally put your name into those different spots and say, okay, I'm CFO now, I'm CEO now, I'm salesman now. And you have to do that, right? I wish I did that a lot sooner. We just kind of like go for it. And then we kind of like hire when things feel busy and stressful. And then like, whoa. So you've got to lock in what the seats are on the bus. And then it's just about finding the right people for the right seats, right? Again, from good to great. As soon as I hit that, again, shout out to the team, which, took a long time to get there. But as soon as you've got the right people on the right seats with the right processes, it's game over. It's just growth. So that's what you should be doing as a founder. Like that's all you should be doing really. After those first few years where, at the same time, like revenue, you should obsess over whatever it takes to grow revenue. Like as a CEO and a founder, I think that's your primary objective. But yeah, that would be my piece of advice.
I think that's definitely very helpful. I think that it's definitely common for someone to start an agency and kind of fill what is needed when they see it, but to know kind of a plan for that is definitely better for the long run of not just doing it on the spot and
It's
then
really,
they might
yeah,
not be a good fit.
it's really tempting to create roles for people. And I've made that mistake before. I'm not saying it's always a mistake, but it usually is. Like you get someone who's super good at this one thing and they join your agency, but that's really not your niche. And you didn't have a need for that in the first place. You're like, oh, let's just like, I like that person and they're really good at that. Let me like create a role for it. You kind of have to avoid that temptation. It is low. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, to to avoid things like that, especially that gets not only you but also them into kind of a bad spot.
Yeah.
It's like, we hired you, but we don't actually need you, and now we have to figure out what to do with you. You want to do something you don't like?
Yeah, like you have the right people, but you got the wrong seats, right?
Mhm.
And you can have these different conundrums, or you can have the wrong people in the right seats, and we know what that's about. That's not fun either. So
Yeah, no, people don't like not doing what they don't like, and they don't, they don't produce good work because of that too. Like they can, they can be hard workers too and still not um efficiently be, completing their tasks because that's not what's meant for them. And that's not that's not really anyone's fault necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just like figuring out when that's happening too. But yeah, okay. So now we're switching gears again because now it's game time. Okay. Oh, okay. I'll ask do you want an absurd question first, or do you want a marketing would you rather first?
Give me the absurd first. Let's start at the top.
Hey, this one is not a would you rather. It's just a question that I asked everyone now because it's a fascinating question to me. Well, it sounds fascinating. I think it says a lot about a person. How many eggs do you think that you can consume in a waking day?
Can I cook them however I want?
You can cook them however, they can be prepared however you want. They can have other things involved in them that they just have to be consumed.
Oops. Yeah, I would obviously go scrambled. I think that's probably the way to go. You're doing hard boiled eggs. Maybe I can't even mix it up. I'd have to mix because I think the taste would get to me before the quantity. It'd be like, I'm tired of this. I think I could do. I mean, it's easy to put down a few eggs. Let's be honest. I think at least if my life depended on it,
If you're like in a competition, someone had gun to your head.
50 or 60 eggs. I think.
All right. Okay. All right. You might have the record.
I could do 20, like if you force it to 20 in the morning as soon as I wake up, 20 early afternoon, and then 20. You could totally do that. You could totally do it. You can. Anyone could do.
No. I eat 3. Sometimes I end up eating 3 eggs in the morning because I put too many things in my eggs and I need another egg to balance it out. But 2 eggs is the ideal.
Wow.
If I need a 3rd egg, I almost can't finish my food. The 3rd egg is the tipping point for me in one meal, so I can't imagine. This all roots from, there's multiple things. I saw a video of a girl that was talking about her boyfriend in a fantasy league, where their punishment was to eat their Asian eggs.
Ooh.
And apparently it was so difficult that the next year they had the same punishment, and he was having nightmares, sweating over having to do it again, which sounds like, and they were like mid-20s. So I'm imagining 25 eggs. Yeah, maybe it's really hard, and everyone else.
Like if I have an omelet, I'm putting 6 eggs in that.
Yeah, that's not bad. I don't know. You and one other person have said around 50.
So could I have 10 omelets?
You could have you could have you could have 10 omelets. Easy peasy.
Exactly.
Easy peasy. Yeah. You could easily do that. You might want to die later in the day, but you're still, you still did it. So all right, this is great. This is outside of the podcast, but my boyfriend said 9 dozen, which I think is just fucked.
Yeah, that.
My bad.
What do you? That sounds like a long. That sounds like a long.
But again, just a liar.
If your life depended on it, I think we'd probably be pretty shocked what we could do.
I don't even think he was thinking in that concept. I think he was really.
Wow.
Yes, definitely for a fact. I don't believe him, and I want to challenge him on it, but I don't want to kill him. So, it's a hard task to prove. Anyway, I'll give you a marketing question. Now that we had some fun. Okay. Bad press or no press at all? What's worse?
Oh, that is a good question. No press at all or bad. I mean, the insert cliche here. Any press, any publicity is good publicity. That's tough. You'd have to get no press at all. That's really tough. Honestly, though, in today's day and age, I'd probably lean toward no press because I think where brands are going. Shout out to these younger generations. Honestly, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. I think that authenticity, transparency, and like brands that align with their values is just, it's never been more important in consumer culture than it is now. And it's only going to get more so. So I think if you have bad press, I think you're just really going to get called out on it, and it's just not going to be for you.
Cancel culture is wild. Definitely something that people probably have on their mind at all times. I'm thinking about it all the time, and I'm not a TV personality. I do this podcast, and sometimes I curse by accident, but I don't say anything horrible. But I'm constantly worried that maybe I did say something horrible one time in my life, and someone filmed it, and now I know they have permanent blackmail on me, and I don't even know what I said. You never know. You never know. And cancel culture is terrifying. But yeah, I think it definitely does at least hold businesses, companies, agencies accountable
Yeah.
for their actions, which I think is a good thing. I think they're just sometimes it's taken too far, depending on
It is. Yeah, it is. The
the
pendulum's kind of swinging. It just continues to swing back and forth. And I hope it finds kind of a middle ground, because you can also see through kind of the fake authenticity, right? Like, again, especially with these younger generations, it's fascinating to me as I work around, I hire, I've got a lot of Gen Z employees. I've come to really appreciate certain aspects of how they digest information, how they make buying decisions. But Gen Z, Gen Alpha, growing up with the internet, can just see right through the fakeness. Like, you're right. So no offense to our baby boomer grandparents, perhaps, but there's a reason why like a TV ad will come on. They're going to oftentimes to buy it or kind of get scammed quite a bit through media for them. Right. But they'll just see right through that. So yeah, you got to be authentic. Like, the brand has to be authentic, or it's just not going to work.
Oh, 100%. I do fall for gimmicks sometimes. Gimmicks get me, and I am Gen Z, not Gen Alpha. They terrify me. I'm sure they're great. I do gimmicks get me. I don't but authenticity I do, and my phone's gonna hear this now, and I'm gonna get a bunch of ads for things that are gimmicky. But I do think, yeah, authenticity is something that's super important. It's also so easy to look things up. You can easily, if you are wondering about um a company or a product or something like that, you can just easily look up reviews for it. But there's a huge problem with that, and I don't know. I hope this gets better one day, or there's some kind of legality around it. But the idea of paid reviews
Yeah.
is so popular now that I don't even know how to weed them out. I don't know what to look for at this point in time. I can very easily pick out an AI generated review. I think at this point in time, you know, uh, we look at our competitors and we can kind of like see those things sometimes when we see the reviews and things like that. And that's something that's very easy to pick out at this point, especially if you're familiar with AI and how it like speaks. A normal person does not speak like AI. So you can pick that out. But other than that, um, that does scare me because I think that I can look up a bunch of things that have good reviews and hate it, and I can give it a bad review, but then there's 10 good reviews after it because they're paying people to do that. That's a scary concept.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people kind of. I'm already seeing some marketplace. So in our space, in the agency space, there's some marketplaces that to get a review, like Clutch.co, for example, is one that comes to mind. It's really hard to get a review there. So they will phone call your reference. They'll phone call your client and have like a telephone interview. And so, yeah, so that's become like a really popular. So I think there's opportunity there where, yeah, like as reviews kind of lose their clout on certain platforms, like maybe Google and Facebook and Yelp, and it's like this doesn't really, like, other marketplaces might rise to the top and say, come here because these are, so maybe there's opportunity, right, for more of those.
I would hope that they would do that, especially with products, because I think that they actually are trying to combat that with like agency work specifically. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
But I think that for consumer marketing, I would really hope that they would have some kind of facilities in place. I would love a law. I would love a law that said you can't do this. You can't pay people to review. That would be awesome. You don't always want laws for things, but that's a good thing. So, But yeah, we'll see where time takes us. I think if anything, it might just get worse. But
Probably.
that's me being pessimistic. Let's not leave it on pessimistic note. I'm going to ask you one more funny question. Okay, we're running out of time. We're out of time. Would you rather be stuck on a deserted island with someone that you hate, or alone forever?
Oh.
Please.
Not to end on a pessimistic note.
It could be positive. You can make it positive.
You're right. Probably alone, but I get to be here, right? Like I'm not on an island in the middle of nowhere.
No, you're on an island. You have to be on an island. You're stuck on an island in the middle of nowhere, but you're alone or with someone you hate.
Which one would be more entertaining? Ooh. That's really tough. I would have to, I would be on the island with the person I hate, and by the end of our journey, we're going to be best friends.
See, I have gotten that response before, but the alternative of that is that you kill each other. And that's also terrifying, but
either way, it's more exciting.
You're right. And if you are the killer, then you have sustenance. And that is a horrible way to think about it.
Very
but
right.
You're on a deserted island. You probably don't have food. I don't know. They did it. That Himalayan rugby team did it, but they did not kill anyone. As far as we know. Proven in law, they did not kill anyone.
Oh.
I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's really good. You should watch it.
I've heard about it. Yeah, like or something like that, right?
Yeah, they had a whole court case around it because a bunch of parents were really upset that they couldn't bury their kids because they were eaten. Very crazy. It's a very interesting documentary. Anyway, I still ended on a very strange note. But anyway, thank you so much for coming. It's very fun. And I learned a lot. And that's my favorite part of the podcast. I hope I never stop saying that. I say it every podcast because I learn something every time and it's great. So thank you. I know this is for our audience to learn, but it's also for me. Everyone has different ways of doing things and I really like learning about them. So thank you so much for providing that information.
Love it. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening or watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See more stories like this. Thank you so much for participating.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.